of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, rise above the falsehood, live in the pure light of your soul, and you will be close, very close to the Lord. With always our love and blessing, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 6, The Book of Fate, Canto 1, The Word of Fate, page 431. His sweetness and his joy attract all hearts to live with his own in a glad tenancy. His strength is like a tower built to reach heaven, a Godhead quarried from the stones of life. O loss, if death into its elements, of which his gracious envelope was built, shatter this was before it breathes its sweets, as if earth could not keep too long from heaven a treasure thus unique loaned by the gods, a being so rare of so divine a make. In one brief year, when this bright hour flies back and perches careless on a branch of time, this sovereign glory ends, heaven lent to earth. This splendor vanishes from the mortal sky. Heaven's greatness came, but was too great to stay. 12 swift-winged months are given to him and her. This day returning, Satyavan must die. A lightning bright and nude, the sentence fell. But the queen cried, vain then can be heaven's grace. Heaven mocks us with the brilliance of its gifts. For death is a cup-bearer of the wine of too brief joy held up to mortal lips for a passionate moment by the careless gods. But I reject the grace and the mockery. Mounting thy car, go forth, O Savitri, and travel once more through the peopled lands. Alas, in the green gladness of the woods, thy heart has stooped to a misleading call. Choose once again and leave this fated head. Death is the gardener of this wonder tree. Love's sweetness sleeps in his pale marble hand. Advancing in a honeyed line, but closed, a little joy would buy too bitter an end. Plead not thy choice, for death has made it vain. Thy youth and radiance were not born to lie. A casket void dropped on a careless soil. A choice less rare may call a happier fate. Prayers and Meditations, March 15, 1914. My thought is filled with thee, my heart is full. All my being is filled with thy presence, and peace grows ever deeper, giving rise to that happiness so special, so unmixed, of a calm serenity, which seems vast as the universe, deep as the unfathomable depths which lead to thee. Oh, these silent and pure nights when my heart overflows and unites with thy divine love to penetrate all things, embrace all life, illumine and regenerate all thought, purify all feeling, awaken in every being the consciousness of thy marvelous presence and of the ineffable peace that flows from it. Grant, O Lord, that this consciousness and peace may constantly grow within us, so that we may be more and more the faithful intermediaries of thy divine and absolute law.
Père, que nous obéissions qu'à toi et que nous vivions selon la vérité. Supreme Lord, eternal truth, let us obey thee alone and live according to truth.
Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo book, The Synthesis of Yoga 1, topic, The Yoga of Divine Works, subtopic, The Ascent of the Sacrifice, page 153. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the integral yoga, refusing to rely upon the fragile stuff of mental and moral ideas, puts its whole emphasis in this field on three central dynamic processes: the development of the true soul or the psychic being to take the place of the false soul of desire, the sublimation of human into divine love, the elevation of consciousness from its mental to its spiritual and supramental plane, by whose power alone both the soul and the life force can be utterly delivered from the wheels and prevarications of the ignorance. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is the very nature of the soul or the psychic being to turn towards the divine truth as the sunflower to the sun. It accepts and clings to all that is divine or progressing towards divinity and draws back from all that is a perversion or a denial of it, from all that is false and undivine. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, yet the soul is at first but a spark and then a little flame of Godhead burning in the midst of a great darkness. For the most part of it is veiled in its inner sanctum, and to reveal itself, it has to call on the mind, the life force, and the physical consciousness and persuade them as best they can to express it. Ordinarily, it succeeds at most in suffusing their outwardness with its inner light and modifying with its purifying fineness their dark obscurities or their coarser mixture. Even when there is a formed psychic being able to express itself with some directness in life, it is still in all but a smaller portion of the being, no bigger in the mass of the body than the thumb of a man, was the image used by ancient seers, and it is not always able to prevail against the obscurity or ignorant smallness of the physical consciousness, the mistaken surenesses of the mind, or the arrogance and vehemence of the vital nature. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, this soul is obliged to accept the human mental, emotive, sensational life as it is, its relations, its activities, its cherished forms and figures. It has to labor to disengage and increase the divine element in all this relative truth mixed with a continual falsifying error. This love turned to the uses of the animal body or the satisfaction of the vital ego, this life of an average manhood shot with rare and pale glimpses of Godhead and the darker luridities of the demon and the brute. Unerring in the essence of its will, it is obliged often under the pressure of its instruments to submit to mistakes of action, wrong placement of feeling, wrong choice of person, errors in the exact form of its will, in the circumstances of its expression of the infallible inner ideal. Yet is there a divination within it which makes it a surer guide than the reason or than even the higher desire, and through apparent errors and stumblings, its voice can still lead better than the precise intellect and the considering mental judgment. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, this voice of the soul is not what we call conscience, for that is only a mental and often conventional erring substitute. It is a deeper and more seldom heard call, yet to follow it when heard is wisest. Even it is better to wander at the call of one's soul than to go apparently straight with the reason and the outward moral mentor. But it is only when the life turns towards the divine, but it is only when the life turns towards the divine that the soul can truly come forward and impose its power on the outer members. For itself, a spark of the divine to grow in flame towards the divine, it is its true life and its very reason of existence, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo.
स्वपत्य आयुन्यूनजा पिन्वस्वसमिषो दिदीहिनः विश्वतिं यौभमतिथिं नरः सदायन्तार